This is it, guys. This is what it's all about. This is literally what I live for. Very first morning, Bassmaster Elite Series on Lake Eufaula, second stop. Been 3 months off. Had 3 huge days of practice, and now it's all about to happen. And the craziest part of all is I'm about to have an ESPN camera guy in the boat, and we're going to be live all day on ESPN all around the world. So this is massive news for bass fishing, my sponsors, my supporters, everything. It's going to be cool. So let's go and do it. When you hear all the engines fire up, national anthem, just music playing, this is what like kids dream about. It's crazy. When you're a kid, this is what you imagine it being like, and it's everything that you can imagine. It's crazy.
Right behind him, the only Australian to ever qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series.
3 o'clock.
Champion, Fear My Heart, Carl Jacobson.
Thank you. Never get sick of Mercer saying that. So cool. This is it. Got about 15-minute run up the lake, and then I have about probably 150 solid waypoints, but I want to get to my first 5 or 10, but we will see what happens when we get down there.
Oh no, come out. Yep, he came out. Oh no, he's only just got him. Not a huge one, man. It's a good start. Little skinny guy. Had him pretty decent.
Well, skinny, but it's a start. Day 1, Bassmaster Elite Lake Eufaula. First 5 minutes.
Okay.
Conservation cull tag on him. Let's get some water happening in there. A little spar bar. 2-pounder, but it's a start, and I'm doing what I love. Molex jig. Let's get another one. I don't know what this is. I don't think it's a bass. Ah, big catfish. Yeah. This is what happens when you're having like one of those mornings. I'm having one of those mornings. Man, they're just not biting the jig for some reason this morning. Had to throw the scrounger up there to get him to bite, but it's a weird looking one. Number 2. Fish are always throwing a curveball at you. This should be every cast with a jig, and they're not biting it right now. I wind the scrounger over the top of them, and that one crushes it, but not big ones though. One. Better one. So strange. Better fish, but might go 2 3/4. Number 3. Gotta start somewhere. There he is. Very next cast. Feels pretty decent. It's a better one. Number 4. It can happen quick here. It's all timing. It's all timing. I honestly don't want any of these fish in my bag at the end of the day, but they're fired up down there. See if we can keep doing it. You got to be always willing to adjust, you know. I didn't want to throw anything but the jig, and now I've had to throw this scrounger. Just got to keep thinking. They're just not biting it. You can't push something that they're not biting. They'll come back on the jig later, but that felt good to get 2 bites in a row like that. Be a good one. Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one we need right there. That is the one. Yes. That's how you get number 5. Patience, patience, patience. Number 5. Best one. Man, I need 4 more like that. Got 5. Man, it's just so frustrating because the jig was the deal, all practice, but I did catch a few on this scrounger. And now it's just, it's playing. It's what I'm getting the bites on. Oh, I just gotta keep throwing it. Fishing's a crazy game. Sometimes having a good practice is the worst thing because you get dialed in, but I've learnt I just want to keep fishing that jig, but it's just, they're not biting it. Not biting it like they were anyway. Come on, baby, be a good one. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Yes, that's an upgrade. Whew. Man, I got lucky to get that fish out. That's a good one. Oh, might be happening. It's all timing. Molluck's jig. This is where you can't get down. I've had a tough day. 13, 14 pounds. Haven't had that big bite, lost a good one. Got, what do we got? 2 hours and 15 minutes. So now it's go time. Put the head down, fish as hard as we can, fish as many spots as we can, see if we can get into that upper teens, and we need to be around that 20 pound mark. I know we can do it, it can happen quick. Yep, big one. Be a big one. Stay on. Be a good one. Be a big one. They open their mouth up and they feel big. It's a big one. It's a good one. We need this one. We need this one. We need this one bad. It's not a huge one, but I'll definitely take it. I just hooked. Come here, son. Yes. We're getting somewhere now. Good one.
5 fish here today. Got to watch him on ESPN today. 15 pounds and 9 ounces. And I swear to you, when Mike McInnes called me to tell me about being on ESPN2, I literally freaked out. I started screaming on the phone because I thought it was fake. Like, that's how crazy that is and unrealistic. But man, you are the most unrealistic things seem to be where you excel. Tell me what, did that go through your mind at all? Just how many eyeballs maybe watching our sport for the very first time?
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable just for Bassmaster to be able to do that, and you know, for the work, I left my family and everyone back home in Australia, and it has to be, the sacrifices has to be worth it. And when you get on ESPN from a little kid, you've been dreaming about it and watching it, and all of a sudden you are there 20 years later. After 20 years, it's a surreal feeling, but not the best day, but incredible to be standing on the front and have my Australian fan base from the other side of the world being able to watch me live on ESPN. There wasn't a feeling like it. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for the support, and big rally day tomorrow.
Look forward to seeing it. Great to have you back here. Let's bring up the former card.
Thanks.
Bass champion, Brent Pruitt.
Watch your steps, a little slippery. Grab your ticket.
Analysis from Kayla before we talk to Carl.
Well, there's another day. We'll have to go and do it again tomorrow. Plus a couple pounds. And we'll be sitting right where we need to be.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Bed. In your bed.
Mrs. Puppy.
Hello, pup dog. Kisses for dad.
Day did not go to plan. No, it's hard not to be disappointed. You have an opportunity like being on ESPN. You want everything to go right, and it wasn't the best day. So, pretty disappointed. But it's not over. It just sucks that got to be on ESPN and didn't kind of get to show out. Yeah, everything just changed. That's how it goes all the time. You know, you got to adjust constantly. Had one of the best practices I've ever had. It was unbelievable. I've never been so excited, and you know, all the things led for me to believe that it was only going to get better out there, and you know, fish moving that way. Man, I don't really know what happened. Like, literally, they're just biting that Molix jig like crazy, better than they ever had, and then literally just stopped. And it's just like they weren't there. But I guess I'm proud I made the right adjustments to sort of salvage the day. You know, in the past, I might have kept doing that and ended up with 10 pounds or less, and made it almost impossible to get back inside the cut, where I sort of salvaged it, caught them on that scrounger, and so I learned a lot about what they're sort of doing, where they're sitting. So hopefully I can use that intel, what I learned today, and have a better day tomorrow. Like, the main thing that I learned was, like, most of the fish bit on the very first cast on an area. That was like the big learning curve that I had, and man, that looks good. And so if I could have today over, like, I ran a lot of spots, like a ridiculous amount. My poor cameraman, he had to put that big camera away a million times. But I wasted a bit of time by fishing and trying to figure those areas out, where, like, once they bit and you got one fish, it was kind of over. So tomorrow I'm gonna bounce like even more. I probably fish more spots than I've ever fished in a tournament today, and I'm gonna fish double that tomorrow. And so we are gonna run and gun and run and gun and try and put 20 pounds together, because 20 pounds is gonna get us back in the hunt. Sitting in 58th, and so it's you know, 18 outside the cut. They absolutely smashed them. Like, 15 should be in the 40s. So tomorrow, new day, rigging, big storm coming in right now. We just got absolutely drenched. I'm loving the tent. This is what helps me stay out here and be able to rig and prep and get ready for a big day 2. We've got to get inside that top 40. This is it, day 2. This is the real day that counts. You know, you can lose it on day 1, but we didn't do that. We hung in there, 15.5 pounds. It's not where we want to be, but we're in distance to make that top 40 cut. You can go anywhere from there, but you've got to make that day 3 cut. It's what every angler here is trying to do. And so we need a big day. We need 18 to 20 plus pounds to do that. They absolutely crushed them. So we are out here right now in line, about to launch, and I feel good. Different conditions, bluebird skies, no wind. It's going to be close to 90 degrees. It's going to be hot, and I think that's going to help my bite a little bit. So let's see if we can go and do it. Skinny one again.
But he'll keep.
Yeah. Can't complain. Yep. Yep. That's a big one. That's a big one. Come on, baby. Stay on. Stay on. Don't jump. Ah. He's not that big. Ah. Pulling him sideways. Not bad. Bit over 2. Please stay on. Please. Come on, baby. Holy cow. Double. Double.
Oh my gosh.
Double of giant. Oh, one big one. Please stay on. Please stay on. Oh, little one came off. Oh, got the big one. That happened quick.
Yeah, it is.
I think I might know what I need to do for the rest of the day. Just need about 20 more of these spots. Come on, there's got to be a 5 in there. Yeah, this is crazy. This is insane. I can't remember which number was the little. They're like exactly the same. I just need to find a school that's got better ones. God,
what have I got to do to catch a 3-pounder?
He looks a little bigger, doesn't he?
Let's bring up an Elite Series champion, the only Australian to ever win a Bassmaster Elite Series event, Carl Jacobson. At 15-9 yesterday, that today for 13-4, gives him 28-13, and unfortunately below the projected cut. We'll see how it all shakes out, and how good does it feel just to get back to do it, what you love to do?
Yeah, no, you can't complain, but that right there, that's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows here. No, as anglers, none of us want to be driving home tomorrow, but unfortunately I'm going to be doing that. Gives you a lot of motivation, and just got to get back in the truck, get back to fishing, and looking forward to that New York swing. So appreciate all the support, and we'll make this our best year yet.
Here in the last few minutes, it's been working out for me there.
If you can, kind of dial us in. What?
So this is not where you want to be on day 3 of a Bassmaster Elite Series event. This is literally every professional tournament angler's worst nightmare, is sitting here watching guys fish day 3. That's what happens when you make some bad decisions, get on a bad bite. So right now, generally would be in the camper. We've lived out of our camper for the last 5 years. And never had a home to actually go back to, so we just live and stay on the road. So this is the first time in 10 years that we actually got to pack up and come back home. So this morning we've unpacked the lance, put the boat away, have unpacked fishing gear, and now we're watching Bassmaster live. And this is the next best thing, is you're watching it and you're seeing what you did wrong. You're learning so much by able to watch this Bassmaster live. So I'm working on tackle, working on my boat, cleaning up, and watching live all at the same time. This is unfortunately what happens when you don't catch them. So this is all motivation to make sure that you're in that top 40 next time. So watching live and seeing, you know, where you went wrong and what you could have done, I'm going to jump in the boat right now, turn those Solixes on, show you what I did, what I got dialed in, and then what I would do different in the lessons that I learned over this week. So this is the most important, as long as you take something away from it. These hard lessons are the best lessons. So let's go check it out. So one of the biggest factors and keys to being able to break down a lake, especially like Eufaula when they're offshore, is Lake Master. Humminbird has the best mapping there is out there, so that's what I relied on solely. First morning of practice, I got out, I idled for hours and hours and hours, and I found tons of brush. I hadn't fished much yet, and I wasn't seeing tons of fish, so what I actually did was started to fish them, and I got in like little, not main river channels like this, I got in these little secondary creeks that the mapping just shows perfectly. And what I did was side imaged these isolated individual big brush piles inside of these creeks just up on the ledges. And so when they would pull current or the wind would blow, you would get current running off and then back into those little creek channels, and they would set up on those brush piles. And so then it was a matter of, when I started fishing day 1 of practice, idled up, pulled up short of it, dropped the trolling motor. The isolated individual brush pole just shows up perfectly on 360, sits out 60 feet, 70 feet. I can make the most accurate cast possible and land my bait right onto that brush pile. And what was happening is it wasn't even making it to the bottom. And I was trying quite a few different baits. I was cranking, big worm, drop shot, but what really keyed me in was the big Molex jig, the 3/4 ounce GT Molex jig. the same one that I won 10 killer on, and I mean, it wouldn't even make it to the bottom. It was stupid. I caught a 7 and then a bunch of 4s, and I touched on it for about 45 minutes on different ones, and I was like, this is 100% the deal. Middle of June, Lake Eufaula, the most famous ledge brush lake in the country. Water temps 80 plus, fish are going to be flooding out here, they're going to keep coming. I hardly made a cast for the rest of practice. I literally idled the entire lake as much as I could, every likely and non-likely looking spot, and I marked every isolated brush that I could find in those small creek channels. Well, what I didn't factor in was the lake rising slightly. And even though it did do that, I thought mid-June, still hot, there's going to be fish up there. That might last one day, but that's going to go away. But it just didn't. The mayfly hatch, the bluegill beds, all of these things combined just made the perfect storm for that shallow bite to really fire. And what was weird and what I didn't expect was the fish that I found actually left. They totally left, and then they went up to those 10, 12 foot brush piles in front of docks and shallow points and shallower bays, and then they pushed to the bank. So they were the two things that I didn't expect to happen. But you know, it's hard for me to regret anything because I sort of went all in and it could have easily swung my way as it did their way. That's the thing with fishing. But as long as you take something away from it, that's all that matters. But in practice, I had 23 pounds in about 45 minutes on the very first day. I swung on those fish, caught them, and I was like, okay, I know what to do now. You know, Shimano Crata 8.5 to 1, 18 pound Sunline shooter, unreal, and then the Jig Freak Power. And I've just got so much confidence in this setup of getting bit and also putting those fish in the boat. And so I just did everything that I was confident in doing, and unfortunately it just slightly went the other way. Next week, this will probably be a top 10 winning style deal. It just got to the perfect storm, and I just learnt my lesson of just be careful of not going too all in. Make sure you check everything and cross everything off, which I normally do, but this sets up perfectly to be able to say, like, this is how it's going to get won, this is what the fish want to do, this is where they want to be. And so I put all of my eggs in that basket, and it was the wrong basket. Rising water levels, late spring, so early June still wasn't too hot, and mayfly hatch, bluegill beds, shallow, lots of water willow and stuff on the bank, so the shallow bite was there. So if I could do it again, I would have spent more time on the bank, spent more time looking for those shallower brush piles and having everything in my back pocket, not just this. So that was the key, and I think that's what will win it this week in the Bassmaster Elites, is the guys that are going to touch on everything. And if they can figure out to fish the deep bite first, then the bank bite get better later on, and utilise all of those things, that's who's going to win, not the guy that just went all in on either the bank or the ledges. So plenty of lessons learnt. That's what this tournament fishing is all about, and more motivated than ever to make sure I'm in that top cut for the next event at Lake Eufaula.